Hello and welcome back to the World Parliament of Spirituality. We are opening session 25, which is our final session for this event. And I would just like to ask the team to stop sharing their screen, if that's possible, please.
We can't see their screen anymore. We just see
you.
you.
Can't. Oh, how beautiful.
Auntie
Lucky
Lois
me.
and Auntie Lennar. Yes.
Lucky you. Thank you. Okay. Let me grab. Take a beautiful big deep breath. I cannot see. All I can see is their screen. So let me just change my view. There we go. So I'd like to welcome Auntie Lois, Auntie Lennar, and Uncle Keith. Is Uncle Keith on a different screen, or are you all there together?
He's coming.
He's coming. And also we have Marianne with us as well. Marianne, are you able, or would you like to show us your pretty face, or would you rather stay incognito?
Hello.
Good morning. Lovely to see you.
Hi. Good to see you too. I'm happy to go incognito though and be behind the scenes, but it's nice to see you all.
That's not fair.
And Uncle Keith will be coming on soon.
That's quite okay. First up, I'm really thrilled, absolutely delighted and honoured to learn from you, and to give you all a chance to share a bit about you and your culture and your stories. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome, Michelle, and it's really a beautiful privilege to be a part of this conference. But I think world unity is certainly something that we all strive for in our various ways. And I think the strength of participants in this global society will only be strengthened by pure love. And I think it's the truth that we need to be holding on to at all times, Michelle. So I thank you for this invitation. And my name is Lois.
I was going to say, which one's on which side here?
So I'm Lois, this one here.
In all respect, I do not want to get that wrong.
That's all right.
And my
Lois, do you mind?
Lennar. Oh.
Hi, Lennar. It's an honour to meet you.
I'll let Lois finish now. Okay.
So did you want to say something, Michelle?
I would just love to share. I have been sent through your biography, your bio, if I may share that. It's brief and it doesn't tell anyone much about you, but I'd like to start there so that our listeners can get a feeling for a bit of your story.
For sure. So my name is Lois Burke, and I do have a family home in Sydney. But my family connections, all my spiritual places here in Yaegl country on the far north coast of New South Wales. It's about a 7 to 8 hour trip from Sydney to here. And as soon as we get to certain points in that travel, Michelle, you just know spirit is calling you and bringing you home gently. And I think we've always felt that sense of place with our lives because we have a very strong connection to country. And I've lived down in Sydney away from Yaegl country for the last 40 years. And I think as I'm aging in regard to my wisdom and my knowledge, the feeling of home is much stronger because I know I'm ready to settle down and come back home to country. And the spirits are certainly stronger in regard to the yearning that I do have for country. And I know when I come home, there is this beautiful big Clarence River that just flows through the township of Maclean. And with that township of Maclean, we lived on a little island about maybe 5 to 10 kilometres out of Maclean. And that's where all the Aboriginal people had been forced to move there, I guess. And I think even though there was that hardship and the trauma, all my life I was enclosed with love, and my parents just gave us everything that we needed to have. And there was no money as such, Michelle. It was that pure love of community, of family, and of sharing resources and sharing of community members, I guess, because it does take a community to raise a child. And I think that certainly reinforces my strength in the beauty and the resilience of community, Michelle. So I have been living away for a long, long time, but I do know that, this sense of belonging is so much stronger as I'm aging, and that will, I will eventually, move up home. And I think with our beautiful families that are still living here every day, we get so much love and so much joy from those family visits. And I think with myself, living away from Sydney, you do get strength from where you're living, because that is a beautiful part of Sydney where I do live, on the northern beaches. So I'm surrounded by the beach and by the bush and by the beautiful lake, and certainly very much involved with education, Aboriginal education. I feel that's a very, very important aspect in regard to making sure our kids have got the best, because they deserve the best.
Oh, they do.
Absolutely. And I think that's what I'll always strive for: education, justice and truth. That's my pathway that I walk, and certainly making sure that people are comfortable in regard to sharing their stories, Michelle. I guess I wrote the brief bio because I wasn't really sure what it was that you guys wanted to know, but I'm just a busy community person, just doing what I have to do, Michelle, and I make myself available to everybody who needs to have a quiet ear without any judgment. And then I think a gentle hug is always doesn't go astray either.
I wish I could reach out and give you one right now.
Yes, I think we all need to do that, in this beautiful session of just saying, g'day, a big hug.
I know, let's do it, hey?
Yeah, just do it. And
your energy has touched me.
Michelle. That's me in a nutshell, but I think my sister Lenore will certainly, we all got different ways of doing stuff, haven't we?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Thank you. I have a bio here to read for you, but you did that so much better than your words portrayed. And I'm really grateful. I do have one question for you before we go over to Lenore, if I can.
Yes.
What are you super passionate about? You mentioned education and truth. What are you currently working on that is your driving force for your community?
In regard to our local history, Michelle, we've got next year we celebrate a huge, I guess, well, I would call it a celebration, because it's about resilience, it's about movement, and it's about the strength that we carry from the old people who had lived on the island with us. And I wanted to honour and remember the strength and dignity that who I grew up with on that island, because there was when we look at the generation, they were the generation who lived in the policy, and whereas myself, I was born in 1954, Michelle, so I was still in that policy as such in regard to not being counted in the census. So I guess when we, not the census, what was it?
Referendum.
The referendum. And I think even though mum and dad, were aware of all those different sort of restrictions that was placed on them, they never ever put any I guess restrictions on myself in regard to education, because they were very passionate about us being educated, and I think education, I said that before, but going back to that previous question, Michelle, I would love the stories of the people who lived on Alagandi Island, to the memories that they share and the knowledge that they do hold. I'd love that to be a part of a resource that I would be very keen for the local high school to take on board and add on to what their knowledge is in regard, or not their knowledge, but what they're doing in regard to Aboriginal studies at the local high school and the local schools. And I would love our community members to be highlighted in regard to the strength and the dignity that they upheld in living on in those various conditions. And photographs is something that I'm very keen to gather, but it's just a matter of having lots and lots of yarns with cups of tea to make sure that everyone's okay in regard to sharing, because sometimes, you know, we can't always expect people to share if they don't really know what they're sharing for, you know what I mean?
I do.
And so I guess I'd love to make that space of no judgment will be placed on anybody's stories or memories or visions of what they want to achieve. So I'm just part of that community of getting our stories and getting it from the people in their own way of speaking.
Yeah.
I find sometimes I don't like stories being distorted because of certain media outlets. I like the real story to be told by the people who have got those memories, Michelle.
I agree 100%. And the same scene can be viewed from two people independently, completely differently, depending on their feelings and their emotions and the relationship behind it. So the no judgment is so important. And I practice that myself. I catch myself judging at times. I'm human, but you know, it's important to step back and listen and to really appreciate a person's perspective.
Because
I love your vision.
I think, Michelle, when we were talking about generational trauma, you know, it's still in country, still in our water, you know, the trauma. So we've got to layer by layer be gently peeling those layers. And meanwhile, you know, we've still got to be looking after ourselves, our well-being. So I think that's what I'm doing. I do it in various different ways, but I just do it, Michelle. You know, there's no sort of structure in what I do. Sometimes I'm a bit out there, but that's okay.
I think that's perfect. And I'd love to add to whilst we're peeling the layers and layers, the importance of flooding that open space with love, with acceptance, with understanding, with joy, with compassion.
And celebration
Totally.
of who we are as people,
Yeah.
you know. We're part of the global environment. So we all know that, but we've got to celebrate it, you know.
Yes. Oh, lady, you're giving me goosebumps.
Lovely.
Thank you. I'll move on over to, it's my pleasure. Auntie Lennar, you're the eldest child of Auntie Jessie Randall, Nee Laurie, and Wallace Randall, and a mother of 3 daughters and a grandmother of 6.
Yes.
And from what I understand, you were the first Regal registered general nurse. So you're quite ahead of your time.
Oh, no, that was, I didn't write all this. I had cousins. I just wrote the first 2 lines because I knew that I was a mother, grandmother, and an elder and a priest. And then so the cousins who were with us last night, they filled in the rest.
Right.
They could all the other things. Yeah. But
so it's true.
Well, yes, but I was.
Yeah, it's true.
Talking about I was a registered nurse. I did my general training in Grafton Base Hospital.
Yeah.
And I graduated in 1967. Then I went to Sydney and did midwifery and graduated from that in 1971. And then I did Tresillian or Karatani nursing. That's the baby, you know, for the 0 to 6-year-olds.
Right,
So
yes.
And when I did that because I was invited to work as a community health nurse amongst the back home here in the community. And so I had to have those 3 certificates. But when I'll just take you right back to when I started this nursing. And
Please do.
Yes, and I was 17. And so that would have been about 61, 62. And I went with the priest, a priest who sort of like he was there for us, for the people. He looked after us and looked after the community He fought for justice for our people, and he fought for better living conditions for us. And that's why, sort of like when Lois mentioned about this great celebration that we're doing next year, back to the leaving the island and then moving on to where the community, part of the community still remains, to Hillcrest. And so he was very much a part of that. But in 62, I went up to Grafton Base Hospital for an interview with the matron about this becoming a nurse. And I didn't know at that time, because I was 17, and it was only about maybe 5 years ago when my matron, when she was dying, and she told me, she said, Lenore, she said, we had to fight for you. She said, me and Sister Kelly, Mari, because Mari, Mum and them knew her. And so anyway, she said, we had to fight for you because there were a lot of the board members from the hospital, they didn't want an Aboriginal person. And so with these two women who after hearing that, but also whilst I was doing my training in Grafton, they fed and nurtured me. And as I left one community of home where I was loved, then I went to join this other community with all these 16, 17, 18-year-olds coming in, and we into this other place, and we all lived for the next 4 years. And it was being there that I was loved and bathed in that too. And then continuing on with like doing this nursing. And so she was one of those women that really, who I still admire for her integrity, both her and this Sister Kelly, Mari Kelly. So Matron Iam and Sister Mari Kelly, they were two of my women who gave me that foot up after I left home into that community. And so you'll have to keep me on track, Michelle.
That's all good. No, I felt into asking you how you were treated when you first went into nursing, but I'm here in full respect. I'm not quite sure 100% of how much you wish to share, how much you wish to disclose. So please, I'm here to honour you. I would love you to know that. But it's really from my perspective, I've been saddened my whole life to be disconnected from the land. It's broke my heart to not know your tradition. Getting emotional now.
Yeah. We're holding your hand, Michelle. We're
Thank
holding
you.
Up. Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Because
take a deep breath, Michelle.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah, and let it go all the way down, very gently. And your feet are standing softly on Mother Earth. And while we are standing on Mother Earth, Michelle, we are feeling the strength of the ancestors saying, it's okay. It's all right. Because they will always be there with us. And what I'm seeing from this vision at the moment, Michelle, on the right-hand side of your face, or your hair, darling, there's a throbbing. And it just feels like the spirit is saying it's all right to be where we are today. And I think this is a gentle reminder that we can have all the glory in the world, but we have to feel safe, don't we?
Yes, we do. We do. And it's beyond time that your message came forth, that you got the recognition, not you per se, but your country, our people of our country. We got to know each other.
Yes. And that sharing will continue in that gentle way that Mother Earth wants us to be sharing our stories, Michelle. We don't want anger. We don't want judgment. We just want to be able to speak our stories in a very cultural, safe way. So I interrupted, but look, you go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
And Lenore, what's really important to you now, moving forward? I honour that you choose to move forward now. And there is no judgment. There's no, well, there will be the residual of pain and suffering, of course. It's normal. But what's really important to you, given that your hand was held so beautifully from your family into another family to walk into a healing modality and fought for to be there? What's important to you? What are you fighting for now in a gentle way?
I think it's for everyone to know who they are and where they come from, knowing their identity, because if you don't know who you are, you can't really begin your life as who you were created for. And so it's looking at, or not looking at people, but sort of like, if I know who I am, but it didn't start at a young age. So I'm now 75. And so now I know that who I am. And so I stand strong in who I am. So I stand strong in culture and strong in faith. And yes, and so I know that with myself having that strong foundation, because we were all raised in that strong foundation. And because the love, sort of like all those goodness that we receive, that every child should have received, is the love, the caring, the kindness, the gentleness of loving people around them. And so we were fed and nurtured in that. And not only by our parents, but by the wider, our grandparents, our aunts and our uncles who came in, and they fed and nurtured us. So when I see, for a little child, I see a little child and I want them to say, I am, for example, my little grandchild, my little granddaughter, I am Leonora, Susie Ivy Parker. And I did that, like for them to know who they are.
Yes.
Like they have to crawl first and then walk on this ground, this what we call Mother Earth, this beautiful, soft, sacred, like a soft, in a way, a carpet that has been rolled before us, for not only for us, but for all the world to walk on. This carpet of, this gentle carpet of green and the dirt. And so it's about that, I think, and like bringing people, if there are people who are disconnected, that means that their spirit is not connected. And so like healing, or bringing healing to the broken, because I know that I was broken. And so if I can help others in coming into that sense of place where they feel comfortable, that they can talk about their own brokenness, but also acknowledging the brokenness within them, because we cannot heal others unless we ourselves are healed.
So very true. There are a lot of wounded people out there. There are wounded healers. There are wounded spiritual people. There are wounds all around us. And
well, you've got to be a wounded person, haven't we? We've got to be, to acknowledge our wound, sort of like we are wounded healers. And so that is so true. Sorry, Michelle.
Please do not apologise. We're here for a good old yarn. We've all got our cuppers. I got mine too. We're all
we've got ours.
So Michelle,
that's perfect.
Before I go on, where are you
That's
from?
all right. I grew up in Warragul, down in Gippsland in Victoria. I currently live in Melbourne, just at the base of Mount Dandenong. If I can't get my feet out on the earth at least 2 or 3 times a day, I'm a screaming mess. I'm a nature girl, and I'm very, very, very connected in that. Thank you for asking.
So you're a Kunai girl, are you?
Well, I'd like to know who I am, actually, Uncle Keith. If you'd care to elaborate on that, I'm going to try and pronounce may I try being a proud Yagal,
Yeah.
Bunjalung,
Yes.
Gambenga,
No, Gambuga. Gumbaga. Yeah. Gumbaga.
Gambega.
Yeah.
I did that
Gumbaga,
pretty
yeah.
well.
You
Guri.
did, yeah. Little linguist, are you? Us blackfellas got to be a linguist, I think, eh? The way we, got a lot of our words. 'Cause we never wrote them down, did we? Yeah, we just spoke.
I was petrified all night. I didn't sleep all night hoping I'd get that right,
And my two big gingers there too, Nyaga, look. Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning.
Oh,
Pete.
Lord,
Good morning, darling.
How are you?
Please.
All right?
Yeah.
Deadly.
So just say hello again whilst we can focus. You obviously were speaking what
G'nagay,
language
yeah.
then?
G'nagay, that's Yaga.
Yaga, okay.
Yeah, Yaga, yeah. That's our
And
yeah. That's our mum's tongue.
Okay.
Yeah, language.
Mum and Dad?
Dad's Gumbaga, but his mum was Bunjalung.
Okay. So it was a trilingual home?
Well, I think so. Because I think we very linguistic wise, in the way we do when we greet all of our mob up home. They're Len and Lois. We're speaking all these different languages all at the same time. And we always put that bit of English in there, and the English sort of filters it down a little bit.
Like, Keith, who do you see in the background?
Nyaga there, hey, Nyaga, little Gagu Gala. How are you, son?
Yeah, good lad.
Deadly.
Yeah.
This is our young brother here, Michelle. This is Stuart.
Hey, Stuart. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Michelle.
Welcome. Pull up a chair and join the yarn. We'd love to have you.
I'm sitting outside, darling.
Oh, that's fine.
Male.
Wait, you
I
get a
won't take
suntan out there, eh?
Yeah, I'll get the suntan.
Hey, I'm the only one that needs a suntan.
Come up here.
Oh, I'd love to. Please, I would love to.
Yeah.
Keith, I'd love to share your story, if I may. Or would you like to share your story, the one that was sent through to me from Marianne?
Oh. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what I wrote now.
Well, was it you that wrote it, or like Lenore, did the family take over and do it for her?
No, I did mine last night there after I was talking to Marianne and Lenore and Lois. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very happy to read it for you if you would like me to.
Yeah, just refresh my little memories what I did write.
So you stand before us today to talk about your journey as a proud First Nations Aboriginal man.
Yep.
Born in Maclean.
Yep.
On the Yagal country. Your matriarch mother, Jessie Randall, nee Laurie, a very proud Yagal woman.
Yes, she was.
Your dad, Wally Randall, very proud Bunjalung Gabinga Guri. How'd I go?
That's him, my old dad.
That's him.
Literally.
Are they with us now?
No.
No, they.
I sense they are, just quietly.
Yeah.
In spirit.
No, they.
Yes,
They're gone to the.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So your mother and father provided for all their 10 children, 4 of which are with us right now.
Yes.
Six girls and 4 boys, and you were the middle.
Yeah, I'm the middle one, in Gala. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you grew up on the Allangala Island and the Clarence River in northern New South Wales.
Yeah. Alagandi, yeah, that's him. Alagandagi, or a lot of people pronounce it Alagand. Our elders wise, they always called it Alagandagi.
It's frozen on us.
Yeah. Oh, deadly.
So from this end, I could see movement, Michelle.
You could. Okay, we're back. It's all good. It's actually saying that my internet connection is unstable. So no doubt that my children My children are awake and dragging on the broadband at the moment, so that's okay.
Modern day technology, eh?
Very much so.
You know, we could have the message sticks here, couldn't we, eh?
Hey, I'm told that we have a little bit of a video to watch too, if we've got time, which I hope so, of the dance that you guys put together, and I want to hear the story behind that.
Yeah, that was about the young kids up home there. All our
From the
young
high
Yagle
school.
kids up home there, with the help from, what's that university, Lois?
Sorry.
Macquarie
Macquarie,
University.
Macquarie Uni and Maclean High School and all the little Yagle Jarjums, Gala.
The
And a
Yagle
lot of our
community.
elders are involved in that too. And
Fabulous.
Sister
Well,
Lennar,
I'll
I think she was involved in that too, eh, Len? Were you?
Sister
Yeah, and
Jude.
Sister Jude too. Sister Jude, she only just passed away November last year.
condolences.
She was the next one down from Sister Len, Sister Jude. But she was involved at the high school for over 20 odd years, or even longer, I think.
Maybe longer too.
Yeah, I think longer, because she saw a lot of Jarjums come through, and
And
the Jarjums that came through, they're all grandmothers now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So they still remember, and all the old teachers, mate, they
Yes.
had fond memories of Sister Jude. She did a hell of a lot there. And that was for the non-Aboriginal kids too,
Yeah.
because all the non-Aboriginal kids called Sister Jude Auntie Jude. Yeah, so it was beautiful. All that respect, you know, it was beautiful, mate. Yeah,
And then the
very
Beatles went
inclusive
and wrote
she
a
was,
song
old
for
Sister
her,
Jude.
hey? Hey Jude.
Yes.
Yeah. How cool
Yeah,
is
well,
that?
Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney and all them did all that, eh, didn't they?
That's right. I know. How cool. Love
See,
it.
they knew.
Yeah, but they knew how special she was. That's right.
Yes.
So we'll play that in a little bit, and I'll get a little more information from you on that, if we may. Now, it says that you are a very close Aboriginal community, always caring and sharing for each other and all. What we had, we did share with all the families on the reserve.
Yeah, we did. Even on Alagunda, you know, our mums and dads and all the aunties and uncles over there did the same. There was whatever they caught, like on the island there, they had to go fishing there, of course. And I think that was one of our main foods over there. And, you know, cobra too, Galanyaga. And but the fish wise, you know, there was always plenty for everyone on the island to go around. And I remember after we moved off the island, we moved on to Hillcrest. I remember Uncle Glennie. Do you recall that, Lois? Uncle Glennie went up the river, and he started fishing up there.
Yes, yeah.
And he caught a deadly big jewfish.
Yes.
Yeah. Heck. And that jewfish, it fed the whole mission, the whole Hillcrest.
It did.
Wow.
But I was so surprised, Keith, in regard to Uncle Glennie's strength in carrying that big jewfish, because it would have been
about 3 or 4 foot long, wasn't it? Big.
Oh, it was massive.
What?
It was massive, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. It was a damn big fish, mate. And he caught that, you know, and he was very proud of that.
Yes.
I don't think we had a photo of that. I don't know. But I still remember it in my head, seeing that.
I still remember that too.
Yeah, so, you know, we still got that visual within us. You know,
I think that the visuals are precious, because it's
Good morning,
it
Michael
saved
Burke.
us. Hi, Michael.
That's our nephew there.
Welcome.
Michelle, that's our nephew, Michael.
Nice to meet you, Michael.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks.
This is Michelle, Michael Burke.
Sorry?
Michelle, bub.
Michelle. Oh, yeah. Oh, it says at the top there. Oh, hello,
It
Michelle.
says-
Yeah.
Oh, look. There's been times I've put a wrong name there, so don't feel bad about that.
Okay.
So I reckon we can show up as whoever we like, whenever we like. We're not
That's true,
labelled.
right?
Yeah,
Because we know who we are, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Or who we want to be. One of the two. Yeah.
Deadly.
No, I'm just going to keep going because I'm loving the story here. So that's what a close community is all about, caring and sharing for all. And you have a memory here resonating. Mum and Dad and all our elders did warn us of us children at an early age. If the
that's very
Jargons
true.
see a white man in a car coming down the road, all you Jargons go bush and don't come home till dark. We
Yes,
didn't
and
ask why.
we didn't question that, you know. We just went bush, mate. I don't know. I used to go bush all the time, and you know, I thought it was in the glories, but you know, getting told to do that. But yeah, I didn't question it. We just did it, and you know, just walking around with Cyril, all my cousins, and Lale, and all them. You know, just out in the bush. You know, we had plenty of food out there. There's a lot of fruit and everything like that out there. So yeah, we just lived off the fruits and everything out there in the bush, and didn't get home until dark. But you know, the kids do that nowadays. They get a wobbing now or whatever, eh?
No, they don't. They don't do it
if
now.
they go bush, you know, not telling the mother or father what time they'd be home. But no, we'd make sure that we'd be home before dark. Of course, naturally, little black kids, you know, all scary of that big monster up the back there, Carl Burke.
Marianne, Carl is our
Good morning, Carl
technical
Burke.
support.
How are you,
He's our
son?
technical support. So he set up this whole meeting with all of
he's
his
too deadly,
stuff.
eh? Mr. Infotech.
Awesome.
Eh?
Yeah, so my
Deadly,
partner-
eh, son, eh? Oh, how are you, son?
I'm good.
Oh, deadly. Eh?
Having a yarn with little Nudie last night,
Yeah.
and people up here, they don't even try to remember my name. They just say little Keith, little Coco.
Well,
That's the way to remember
for your
you, eh, bub?
support. Thank you, Keith, for your support. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. So I want to acknowledge the fun you had in the bush, being told not to come home till dark. But there's a deeply tragic other half of that.
Yeah, that's true. But it wasn't until, you know, I learnt later in life that a lot of our cousins and Sister Lennar was in the same classroom and saw our cousins get led away.
Yeah.
Oh, heck.
And I think, Keith, I'm going to gently hold you in this memory. I wasn't there with that.
No, but Lennar was, and she witnessed it, eh, Len? And you know, she did not know why they was all going, all just only one family, mate. Uncle Frankie's kids, you know, our cousins, Elaine and all them, Brian.
Yeah.
And,
well, I saw Elaine. I didn't see the rest going because Elaine was in my class.
Yeah.
And so, she was going,
And I think, Michelle, when we talk about trauma, you know, it's sitting here beside us as we talk about it.
Of course.
And we live it 24/7, eh? You know?
We live it every day of our lives. And the, I mean, we feel the pain of our aunties and uncles and our cousins, but I think, you know, always never ever forget the past trauma in regard to our family, because we carry their pain. We carry their pain at all times.
Yeah, that's true. You know, it's because I remember Mum telling us about Auntie, was it Auntie May? Eh? Was it Auntie May Williams? Auntie May Williams?
Auntie Mae Williams, Bubba's sister at
Yeah.
Cowra. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that was more or less my first encounter about stolen generation and stolen kids, you know.
Yeah.
And she ended up down there, and later on in life we found out that one of Mum's other sisters was taken over to South Australia. Auntie Jean, Auntie Jean Golland was.
Yes, well, Auntie Jean's and Mum were first cousins. So Auntie Jean's mum and our grandmother were sisters. And I think when we're looking at the ages of our like Auntie Jean moved away, well, taken away at 17 years of age. So her life was just beginning, and we've had opportunity to get to know some of Auntie Jean's family, Keith, over the years. And I think
that's deadly.
all of that sudden of meeting our cousins, that love was instantaneous. It was there already. You know?
Yeah, it was already there.
And I found it so amazing. It was there. You know, they were waiting for us. We're waiting for you. You know.
You know,
So
it was
precious,
the missing link of
precious.
that jigsaw puzzle, eh?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think
Well, the most amazing thing in my life, and I think with Sister Len, you know, she, it was back in 1988. You know, I was working with the Commonwealth Government with DEET, with the Employment, Education and Training. I was a field officer with them, and that was out at Mount Druitt. I was working in the western suburbs of Sydney, and I had a lot of I had a building project to do out there, and I was looking for young apprentices. So I advertised in all the schools, all the high schools, for Aboriginal school leavers to apply. And this young fellow, oh heck.
Yeah, Keith,
This young fellow, he applied, and you know, his name was Alex Wenberg. You know, they all had to come into the office and meet up with me and sign up for this. And on this day, I was at the TAFE College for the parents and all the young kids to come in to sign up for the apprenticeships. And God, you know, I just saw this car driving, just happened to look up, and then I saw this car and saw this fellow, that spitting image of our father, mate, driving this car, and I think, Dad don't drive a car. And you know, but it was the spitting image of this fellow, you know, this facial features. Then soon he jumped out of that vehicle, the car. I was looking, I think, now, holy hell, because he dressed exactly like Dad. And he started walking like Dad. I think, oh no, come on, geez. I was thinking to myself, you know, I didn't know what to expect. And I was looking at this guy and this young fella, and I think, who is this fella? He just looks like Dad. He's got the same clothing that Dad wore, you know, the same style of walk, everything how Dad walked. And he started coming closer to me, and I don't know, these old googly eyes of mine, they just zoomed in, and I think, geez, who is this fella? And then he introduced himself to me. He said, "Hello, my name's Vincent. This is Alex." I said, "Hello, Vincent. Hello, Alex." Still amazed, you know, naturally. And we got talking, and he said, "And what's your name?" I said, "My name's Keith." He said, "Oh, g'day, Keith." In the meantime, I was still thinking, who is this fella? And heck, mate, you know, and he started asked me where I was from. I said, "Oh, I'm from, I don't know if you heard of it, but I'm from a little town called McLean." And he said, "Yeah, I'm from up there too. I was born on Ullagundi Island." I said, "Oh, God, come on now." You know, I was just thinking to my head, I think, now, but this fellow must know me or something, or what? Or does he know where I'm from? I've never met him before. You know, and yeah, we got talking, and he said, yeah, my dad's Wally Randall.
Thank you,
And
darling.
that was another shock to me, far out. I said, he's got the same dad as me. Same name. I said, but there's no other Wally Randalls at home. There's only Brother Wall, but Brother Wall's too young. He wouldn't have a son, this fella. And, Mum and Dad didn't tell us about Brother Vince. And, heck, it wasn't until about 12 years later, Sister Lennar rang me. And, because I kept it a secret to me. Because I didn't know who he was. And
yeah.
And I didn't even tell Mum.
The likeness.
I didn't tell
the
nobody.
likeness, though, incredible.
I told nobody though, and it wasn't until Lenore phoned me that she was at the bringing them home report.
Right.
And she rang me and said, Keith, guess what? We just met our oldest brother. And I just said out of the wood, who, Vincent? Vince, I met him. She said, how do you know his name? I said, I met him back in 1988, Len.
Wow.
And she said, why didn't you tell us? I said, well, I didn't know who he was. I was scared. I didn't know. And that was our first encounter of meeting Brother Vince. So I had the privilege of knowing him 12 years prior to Sister Len and Lois and Mum and all them,
Yeah, that's
but
very special.
Mum knew who he was and everything. That was beautiful. Yeah, heck.
Well, I'm very grateful that
Michelle, following on from Keith's where he left off. So it was in 2002, I think, that we met Brother Vince at a conference, Ayana, that was brought together by Linda Burney then. And so all the elders of the state went down to this new Wollongong, and we all stayed in this hotel together. And when I got out of bed, getting ready for breakfast, so walked down to meet up with everyone. And then there was this gentleman there, and I saw my cousin Kevin there. And I said to this gentleman, I said, hello. I said, I'm Lenore. And I said, where are you from, bud? And he said, oh, they tell me I'm from Alagandi Island. I was born on Alagandi Island. And I said, oh, well, I lived there. And then he said, they tell me my father was a Randall. I said, well, my father was a Randall too. So I said, you could be my brother. I'll be your sister like that.
Oh, my goodness.
And then in the meantime, as we were meeting there, then along comes my mum with Aunt Della. So Aunt Della knew about this story, about Brother Vince. And so Aunt Della gave her a sly smile and a wave. And so Mum, unknowing, she didn't know anything. So they walked on into the room for the meeting. And then along comes this other cousin, one of our eldest cousins, Muriel. And she said, Lynn, I'd like you to meet your brother Vince. And so that was the
How
meeting.
beautiful.
So we were brother and sister then. And then when we went into the meeting with Mum and Aunt Della and our sister Jude, and so we were all sitting together when we in this row. And then I thought, now how am I going to tell Mum about this? And I thought, oh, well, should I pray? And how's it? And I thought, well, I said, God, you've already brought us here. The Spirit's already connected us. And so as we got up to leave, I said to Mum, or before that, I told Brother Vince that I'd see him at the end of the plenary session. And so anyway, when we got up to walk out, my sister Jude, Mum and Aunt Della were there. And so Aunt Della left, and Mum was Mum and our sister Jude were there, and I said to Mum, Mum, did Dad tell you about that he had a son? And Mum said, yes, Pep. And then
Lucky.
after I got that word out, there was this gentle tap on my shoulder. And I said, well, Mum, here he is. This is Vince.
Oh.
Brother Vince. And then with that, Mum just smiled and she tapped him on the cheek like that.
Oh.
Just a gentle touch, the love of a mother. Because this boy, like when they were taken away and lived in that home, Kinchela Boys' Home, or any home, they had no love from their parents. You know, so he didn't. Brother Vince, as we heard from at his funeral, by his because he'd be really harsh in his. It was tough love that he gave. And then it wasn't until later in life that he said, I wish I would have gone searching for my family earlier. Yeah, so that was in 2002. Yeah.
But it was a beautiful,
I love how,
you know, it was a beautiful send-off for Brother Vince.
Yeah.
Hearing our niece and nephews get up and talk. Of exactly how we was sort of brought up too, Len, you know. But you know,
beautiful.
He grew up without love, you know, being loved by a mum and dad, poor Vince.
And so Michelle,
whereas we was directly the opposite, you know, we grew up with mum and dad and with love, with brothers and sisters around us. But Brother Vince, you know, his brothers and sisters, you know, I talk to Auntie Val a lot now, Auntie Val Wenberg, and her and I, you know, she's a mad Rabbitohs supporter. But you know, her and I, we got a good connection. She said, well, what do I call you then? I said, brother, of course. She said, hey, that's it. I'm your sister, eh? I said, yes. I said, you know, and that's what we got to do, you know. And I told Sister Lois and Sister Len to get in contact with Sister Val, and I think you did too, ain't Lois, eh?
Oh, look, there's been a few phone calls, and it's just been an amazing relationship in regard to not growing up with Brother Vince, but also with Auntie Val, or you know, Sister Val. But that pure, unconditional love is so profound. In regard to our meeting each other by phone. And I think that's the essence of relationships, Michelle. You know, the essence of love is such a pure and beautiful feeling. And if we take it by and grab it and hold it dear to us, we can certainly share those feelings of relationships, of sense of belonging. And it's not a hard thing to do, darling. If you know, if we can love, you know, we can all do that.
That's true.
Show it to other people.
So, what's the message here for others who have gone through things like this?
I think embrace love. I think it's that connectivity with your family. Family is very special. Believe you me, it is. You know, I work with a lot of broken families down here in Northern, and you know, I deal with DHHS a lot down here. And Michelle, you know who DHHS is? Child Protection, Human Services.
Yes.
Yeah, but Child Protection, I'm dealing with them a hell of a lot. You know, I've case management meetings every week with them, and it's I support single mums and dads and the whole family to try and to supporting them, advocating on their behalf. I ensure that, you know, because you know, when you go to family law courts, or you're going to be part of the party. You heard of that, Michelle?
I'm blessed to have not walked that path.
No, well,
although
what it
I-
is, it's like it's a, you know how you when a person have a lawyer, okay, representing them.
Yep.
I got all my clients that I work with, I get them to sign I draft up a letter for them to give me consent to act on their behalf and to act on their behalf and speak on their behalf, just like a lawyer would, like that lawyer-client privilege.
Yes.
Yes. And, it's getting those parents together and going to court and speaking on their behalf in the support area. And a lot of the magistrates, they prefer to listen to me more so than the lawyer, because I've been supporting them from the home from day one, and
Yes.
and getting them into either drug and alcohol programs, detox. So ensuring that they are complying with all the conditions that DHS put in front of them, so they can't have their kids back, or and all that. And so I do the reverse wise. I get in first and organise for them to get counselled, but I make sure that they have a mental health assessment prior. So I tee that up with the doctors for them to have a mental health assessment. If they're on drugs or anything like that, we can have the counselling put into that.
Yeah.
And so I get in contact with a lot of the counsellors I do know, and that's how I first come across Marianne Love. You know Marianne, do you?
I spoke with Marianne only through this conference. I've been blessed to meet that special lady.
Yeah, well,
she's a heart of gold.
I've known Marianne for many years now, and over 10 odd years, maybe a bit longer than that, I suppose. I don't know, but her and I, all my clients were her clients, because I'd refer them onto Marianne to do counselling with them.
Okay, perfect. That's how that fits in.
Yeah, that's it's.
So you help pull families back together. You help them get their lives back on track.
Advocate on their behalf, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, which is very, very special.
I travel the journey with them, on that journey. Yeah, and
I love that you said that the judge listens to you rather than the lawyer, because you're the one that actually sees it from the insider's perspective.
Yeah, I do.
On the ground level.
And they're happy to hear that from me.
Yeah.
And a lot of the lawyers, and they get their noses out of joint, but they love to listen to that too, because after the time the clients don't tell them that the full story that I tell them, because because if they're not complying with me, I don't work with people who don't comply.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. People have to want to help themselves, don't they?
Exactly. But I do encourage them. I get other family members involved and make sure that they give them a little prod to move them up a bit, and ensure that I do help them. Yeah,
but, Marianne, can I just butt in there? Speaking from a point of view of family, we know that Keith is everyone as an employer. There's this expectation of doing the job from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Well, can I tell you, I know that, and I've witnessed Keith Randall picking up phone calls, picking up community members when that need is there, and it's not always in that time frame of 9 to 5, Michelle.
No, I'm sure it's not.
His generosity of spirit, his overwhelming love of who he's working with and why he's working with the families. He's doing that with pure love and commitment.
It's beautiful.
And they love him so much. I've witnessed that. and all Keith is just like this. He's just giving so much to the community, Michelle, and Keith, we are so proud of you, because we say only Keith can do that job, because you've got that certain mannerism of being very, very gentle, but very but also persuasive, and you're just making sure that the families, you got their back, and they need to have that knowledge that someone's got their back, Michelle, in every aspect of the way.
To have that visible and spoken support is, for many, and particularly many of the generation that were misplaced, that didn't feel that love growing up, to have someone such as Keith walk in as a beautiful, loving father figure must be he's a saviour. Yes.
And as Keith, like being our brother, so Keith is holding the memories of the love of his own parents and the community, that place where he came from, where he grew up. And then he's got a beautiful family. He's surrounded in his beautiful family, Julie and the kids down there in Melbourne. So Keith is not doing all of this alone, because all the others, and that goes for all of us.
Yes, of course.
We're all being fed, we are wrapped in this love. And it's like, for me, I guess it's like when your spirit is running on empty, you can't do anything. But when your spirit is filled with love and all this goodness, then like the motor car can rev up and you can travel wherever it takes you, or wherever you want.
Got a full tank of juice and off you go.
So I think like that's where, like with Brother Keith, and I know that when he comes home on holidays, he's still receiving calls from his clients. And we're always saying to him, Keith, turn your phone off because you're on holidays. And he said, oh, but I can't. So I think it's the love, being wrapped in that love. And so that blanket of love and that sense of security and knowing who you are and being strong then in your firm foundation that you has been built upon. And so I'd just like to take you back, like with that meeting with Mum and Brother Vince. And then Brother Vince said to Mum, he was 70 at the time, Brother Vince, and Mum was 77. And he said to Mum, like after that, it was just a brief, gentle touch on the face. And he said to Mum, he said, can I come up to your place and visit? And she said, yes, boy. And then she said, he said to her, he said, can I call you Mum? And she said, yes. Yes, pet. So, I mean, that was, Mum
as
was
a 70-year-old.
Yeah. He was this little boy. She saw him as this little boy.
Beautiful.
Little 5-year-old girl.
That it was this little child. So we learnt later that he was taken away from his family when he was 8. He was an 8-year-old. And so I think that sort of like a lot of, So, we were so blessed to be wrapped in this love, but there are people out there who they've been separated from that. Not from their own fault or anything.
No, not of their own fault. But I understand that the Keith's position is a liaison officer with the Victoria Police, and he advocates helping and supporting the Aboriginal youth, adults and families. And the position was created from the findings of the Royal Aboriginal Deaths in Custody report.
Yes, it was,
Yeah, and most represented peoples in Australia were incarcerated. Some of the charges are, in your words, pathetic.
They are very pathetic.
I'll bet you that's a very mild word to use.
It is,
Yeah.
And I see that a lot currently now, I see it a lot now, and I sit down with my superintendents, and I don't talk to the young constables. I talk to their big bosses, mate. I go to the top heavies, talk to them people, and let them know what I think about the charges and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's why
it
we're
says you've-
thinking of, we're looking into cautioning down here now. A lot of youth
Okay.
cautioning and a lot more cautioning and what do we call it? Youth conferencing. I get involved in youth conferencing too,
Okay, perfect.
where the young person and the victim meet together with their lawyers and support workers both together, and the young victim can ask the perpetrator why he did it and why he or she, and that's a good way to do things, because a lot of the magistrates send the young person away to make sure that they do that youth conferencing at the children's court.
That comes right back to what we said straight at the get-go, Auntie Lois, about having different perspectives from the same situation and having the wisdom, I guess, to sit back and say, well, tell me your story, and see there's often not a right or a wrong. It's just two completely different stories.
Two completely different stories.
Yeah, and it's
also the emotions that attach to those stories, Michelle.
Absolutely.
And you just witnessed firsthand in regard to us talking about Brother Vince. The emotion is still alive, even though that happened. When we're looking at 2002, when Lenore first met Brother Vince, and when Keith met Brother Vince in 1988, that surface of trauma is just under. It's there. It's sitting beside us, and I think when we have the discussions about people feeling safe and with telling their stories, we as people in that room will always be aware of this. Has to be a very gentle approach to what they want to share, and we can only ask them to share what they feel that they can at that moment. So it's not going to be a one-off yarn, Michelle. There will be continuous yarns, opportunities of sharing knowledge and sharing stories. So we don't sort of see, I don't sort of have a time on this at the moment, because sometimes we can't always have a time limit, but it has to have when people are ready to share.
For sure. And I feel that often the timing is out of our hands anyway. It will come to its completion in God's timing.
Yes.
I am glad and I'm grateful that trauma is no longer sitting in between you. It is beside you and behind you. And it's not that lump in between you that's breaking you apart anymore.
Yeah, that's true. It's so hard though, we don't know until we're, I think when we're mourning a passing of somebody, we already know what the hurt's going to be. We already know what to expect. So we know all those expectations.
Of course.
And we always, keep something up our sleeve for later on with that little jovial stuff. We sit down and have a good old laugh later on or something. We just keep that aside, Lois? Don't we? When especially when we're together, and it's so deadly, mate. Having that laughter at the end, we can be all serious at first, and towards the end, it's joke time, It's bar, you're in, gala. Hey, so ain't just a land. And the main actor's at the back there, gala, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's at the back.
But we have that, don't we, like,
We do, and with humour, in any situation, sometimes, we always think about the appropriateness of humour, but we don't. We just say it or do it at that moment.
Yeah, we just do it, Yeah, we could be crying our hearts out, and good job. Then someone was bar.
Yeah. But I think that the session that we've been granted today, Michelle, has enabled us to talk about the strength of our family in regard to the abundance of love that we've been enveloped in as we were growing up. And I think we are the product of our mums and our dads and our community members who were growing up there on Nalagandi Island. And certainly there were hardships, but I just feel so much strength and so much passion in regard to my walk on country, because I just know that the old people are here with me, walking beside me. So I never, ever feel by myself, Michelle. And I'm not speaking for my sisters or my brothers, but, that's how I feel, Michelle.
I'd love to speak in, Lenore, I was going to ask you, how do you feel about that? Have you ever felt it, that you guys were left behind, left alone, left? I mean, I'm grateful that you had your beautiful family around you, but what has that left in your heart? Are there any really deep scars there?
For me, no. I can honestly say that. No, there hasn't been.
Beautiful.
And I think, so from what I'm now, where I'm at now, it, as I look at things, it's like I think we all have, or we should have, a holistic approach to whatever work we're doing, whoever we are dealing with. So you're looking at the total person, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And so when you can, for example, I guess like when I was nursing in the community, and it was, you'd go and they'd say, oh, now we're doing a diabetes clinic, education clinic. And so you'd get the people there. So you'd get as you'd get them like coming in, or when you'd go and visit them, you wouldn't only visit just the person who has diabetes, but you would, the whole family had to be involved. You would have to get to know them and, follow them up. And,
as it should be.
Yes.
Yeah, and so like that, so from the nurse, then on towards becoming a priest, it was that movement, that gentle spirit leading me and guiding me. And, sort of like whether I'm listening to the doctor, giving me advice of what I should be doing to the patient, but also, more importantly, listening to the patient or to the person who I was dealing with, and hearing their stories and seeing sort of like where all this hidden trauma come from. And so I think, like, we as workers, or whatever you want to call us, all of us, we are, it has to be, I feel it has to be this holistic approach to what we are doing. And I think with the responses that we've heard from Keith, he's certainly doing that, and the same with Lois, and I'm sure it's with everyone else who is a part of this today.
100%. Thank you. Marianne has that clip ready for us, the song. Shall we have a watch, have a listen? Beautiful. Thank you. Over to you, Marianne. Hey, she is.
Little gunnings.
Wow, thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Marianne. That was amazing. I love the chorus. Our ancestors talk with us. Yeah, they walk with us.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? What did the children bring this forward, or
from McLean High School? So with the partnerships that we spoke of earlier between the community, the elders, the high school, and with Macquarie Uni, this partnership was formed about maybe 20 plus years ago. That like the reconciliation walking together has been a lot longer than the 20 years. But going back to this here, they would have this, when the media, Desert P media would come down, and at McLean High School, just briefly, they've got the River of Learning, and you can look that up on your web. And is that the right word?
Yeah, on Google. Yeah, you can Google it.
McLean High School, the River of Learning. And so when this song came about, before the actual production of the song, the elders were called in to tell the story, their story of growing up on this island where we lived.
Okay.
And so the children, and along with all the media people, all the crew who were there, a part of this, they listened to the stories, they heard the stories, heard our stories and the pain and what we endured. And so then these young kids, then they had a big, what are they, those sheets where they wrote on the boards what some of the significant words that were coming up and what were they hearing from each elder that were telling their stories.
Wow.
And so then they collected those words, and then the children, then they had to, after they had seen all those words, then they had to come and write. Okay, so pulling out from all those words that they'd put up on these sheets of paper. Now, what words do you think that would rhyme? So they went through, they had to choose from those words, the words that how they would put this song together. And then once they had all the words together, and then you'd get the musicians or the people, technical people who were with the music section, they would give them a beat, and they'd give them a few beats, and then the children would decide what beat they wanted to this song. And so and then the end product was what you saw then. So it's been sort of like the children giving their interpretation then through song and dance of how we were raised on that island. And also I think it's like giving hope, bringing us out of that darkness into the hope, because we never lost hope. Yeah. Even though, so like we didn't realize, like when you're sharing your story, you don't know the impact that it will have on others. And so when you're sharing your story, and as I said, our people we grew up with strong in culture, but also strong in faith. We had this faith, this belief that we weren't alone, that there was a bigger boss amongst all these. And so even though the government of the day tried to oppress us, but we didn't know that we were being oppressed, because we were so happy and free growing up on the island, weren't we? So I think like we had the freedom. Well, we thought we were free, but our parents, they really, sheltered us from this worldwide storm, if you want to call it that. Being on the island, of course we were sheltered, because there was this massive thing of water there separating us from the mainland. So I think there's so many like wonderful images that we have, all the goodness from our parents that they received from the great creator spirit, and all the goodness that came into them, and then they fed and nurtured us, with that. And not only us, but everyone, all the children and the families.
When you talk about the first may I acknowledge the collaboration from the elders right through to the youth, and that clip coming together, because I had spine chills the whole way through it. The kids did a great job, but to get that story from the elders and for them to show the respect to extract that and then work together to pull it together, it's quite extraordinary. So I'd love to honour that for all of you, because that's a beautiful work of community.
It was deadly only to see, all those kids there, they're our little grannies, more or less, because they're our cousins' kids and our niece and nephew kids. So, they're all of our little grandkids, all those little proud little Guri kids there. All little Yagle mob, it's beautiful.
I love it.
So deadly
kids
to see them.
Yeah, and even though some of them may not be from here, from this country, that they're
still your kids.
We exclude them. They're our kids.
They're still your kids. They're our kids.
There's no separation. And so we want to give back to them. We want to give back to them what we received, all the goodness.
And you must, because we can't allow your heritage, your dream time, your land, your customs, your traditions to, dare I say it, die with you. It's way too important, and I love seeing this being rejuvenated, and it has been happening for a long time, but it's now starting to be known more widely.
The flame is getting, isn't it? It's getting.
Oh yeah, it
and
is.
And I think that's
Yeah,
like all the resilience,
yeah.
And the strength of like all of everyone who's involved and everyone who isn't involved in this, that's, we are here because of their strength. The flame within them that is for this passion, isn't it? About culture, about language, about another way of teaching. We cannot go back to what we were taught. And because it was just the one-way stream, but now that we know who we are and we know the history, so it is that we have to share this shared history. So we are all historians in a sense.
Oh
yes. We all bring our own stories and our own life experiences to it.
100%. Auntie Lois, how does spirit invite you to speak through? You're a beautiful vessel, we all are. In your ministry, how do you bring the importance of your message, what you've lived? Our lives are, there's no accidents. We're here to live and to learn and to watch and to grow. How could you sum up? I know it's a big question, so tell me to bugger off if you like. But how do you summarize what your people have gone through and what you're now able to, how you're able to turn that into a way forward for us all?
So Michelle, was that question for Lenore in regard to?
Oh, well, whoever feels called to answer that, and perhaps you all can.
Well, I guess, Michelle, in regard to Lenore, she's our spiritual leader in.
But it's you. She's asking you.
Oh,
I was asking you. You because I can see a great spirit behind you right now.
Oh yes.
Wow. and I think myself, in regard to my experiences, Michelle, I always say that, I'm not walking by myself. That I'm walking within this beautiful sense of family, of community, of place. And when we walk, I feel so strong in regard to getting that message out there in that beautiful, gentle way, because we don't need to have any more harshness put onto us as people. I'm talking about the global environment, Michelle. And I think, as Lenore was saying, that's my PA is just going to take that call, Michelle, my personal assistant.
We've got a lunch today.
And I think
oh, it's lunchtime.
And I think, Michelle, for myself, I guess. Just a minute.
It's okay. I'm listening, Auntie. We're listening to you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just wait until Jeff just goes outside. He's just in this main arena.
That's a precious husband.
Yes.
Oh.
And she can't. Yeah.
So I guess, Michelle, in regard to that question, darling, I walk very, very strongly, but the strength is from others. The strength, they lift me up, they carry me, and I just feel so honoured to be part of being carried, because I can't do things by myself. I can. No, it's got to be that collective and the inclusiveness of community that we gather our strengths.
Yes.
And we will push those things over, Michelle, with our strength and our love.
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
That's what we do.
Together we can do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Together we can do anything.
Yes.
We are strong in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Keith, are you with us or are you with the rest of the world? Well, you are with the rest of the world right now, but Keith,
No, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening.
Cooey.
Yeah.
So I know you've seen a lot of changes over the years and you've been
Yes.
denied a heap of simple things in life. And I'm going back to your bio here, private
Yeah.
rentals, real estate, being served last in shops, not allowed in public bars or hotels, getting pulled over by police for driving a car.
Yes.
When in their shock, you have to tell them that this is my car. And they ask, where did you get it from?
Yeah, that's true.
Is it still happening?
It's still happening, mate. Yeah, it's sad. That's only, you know, not as much as they used to, but I think in a lot of other states it is happening. You know, you used to get that done back in the 80s and 70s and 80s back then, and even the 90s, you know, so, and it's still happening. You get a lot of my clients that I do talk to, and, you know, they converse about having been pulled over because of that, you know, and they have to get out and produce documentation that's saying that it is their car and all that. And it's sad, mate. You know, you shouldn't have to do that. You know, they're denying a person's rights.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
they can do a number plate check right there and then, and it only takes 20 seconds to do that.
Yes.
But some of these ignorant, there's only a minority of the ignorance of a lot of those officers, you know. But they'd like to just go face to face and do that bullying tactics, in my view, that is. Over tactics, you know, and I don't like that, but it still happens, you know, even though down here in Victoria we do have a Aboriginal Justice Agreement.
Okay.
And that's through the state government, and all state government departments are signatories to the Justice Agreement.
Okay.
And it's so deadly, mate, because, you know, Victoria Police are one of the signatories to that, to the AJF and Department of Corrections and Department of Justice. So they're all up there, and DHS is also on there, and the courts, the Melbourne Magistrates Court, the County Court, the Supreme Court, all of our courts down here, and it's only a state one, so all the magistrates' courts are there, are signatories. So, you know, it's good.
It is good. Things are progressing.
It is, you know, and all of our police stations, you know, fly the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags, but mainly the Aboriginal flag. So, you know, you'll see the Australian flag and the Aboriginal flag in flying most of the stations around Victoria.
Yes,
so
yes,
deadly.
and I love that. I love that. It's such a beautiful recognition, is what it is, and it's been a long time coming.
And we, you know, the Department of Education, you know, we deal with them. Well, I'm the Western Metro chair of the LACG down here.
Really?
And I sit on the board with VAI. VAI is our peak body for Aboriginal education down here. And because I'm the chair of the Western Metro, I'm automatically like a director of VAI. So we talk to ministers, like the education ministers, on changing curriculum or what should be in the curriculums of each school, and you know, which is good, you know. And we have our we got representatives in all different areas, like early childhood up to universities, TAFE colleges, private schools.
Fantastic.
And you know, we have a representative to sit on all those meetings. And you know, even with corrections, you know, we get the Minister for Corrections, and we talk on running courses at the prisons.
Yeah,
You know, all that. You know, so it's pretty good, mate. You know
it
our
is.
systems down here. Yeah.
Look, I'm buoyed to hear that all these things are in place and that we seem to be coming to a space of togetherness. We can learn so much from
We can, can't we? Yeah.
from each other, absolutely.
Mm.
So I would love to give you each of you the opportunity to share a message that you would like to share. We are going to close the session fairly soon, and I invite you and everyone very warmly to move over to our track 1 as the show is drawing to a close this week, and we'll have a beautiful ceremony. We also have a certificate of appreciation for each of you, which I would like our team to prepare. But before we show those, and I'm going to ask Auntie Lennar to send us off in a prayer for togetherness and peace, if you would honour us with that, but not right now. First, I'd love to just hear from each of you. What are your wishes and your dreams for us moving forward together? Not just as people here sitting in this room as Australians, but as fellow countrymen and our world.
I think inclusiveness, transparency, honesty, acceptance, and all being one, you know, together as one. That's what I'd like to say. And peace and harmony, mate. Yeah.
And with myself, Keith, and Marianne, or Michelle, I mean, and Marianne, I know you're there, darling, so your name just came in. But Michelle, I think the message that I would like to encourage and inspire and support people in this beautiful planet that we call, we're all living in, is certainly truth. I think truth, and to be brave enough to talk about truth, because sometimes people don't want to accept what is truth. How do we have the strength to talk the truth, but people just don't want to sometimes listen to our truth stories, and so it's a work in progress. But I feel that if we continue to tell our stories with respect of who's listening to us, and we want that reciprocal relationship of people who listen to us have got to respect what we're saying, because we are telling the truth.
Yeah.
So it certainly is a big message, I guess, to put out there. But I feel that truth can never, ever be denied in regard to who we are as people.
Truth can never be
That's very
denied as
true,
to who we are in people. Yeah, I had to let that one sink in. But no,
that's very true, though, Michelle, what Lois just said. Because, excuse me, in my, also, I wear a lot of different hats down here in Melbourne. I sit on a couple of different boards of Aboriginal organisations. But with Victoria Police, though, now we're in the process of doing cultural awareness training. And that training is for all the employees of Victoria Police, from our Commissioner Shane Patton all the way down to just a clerical person or a young trainee. So it's open to everybody. We're just putting that into place. They're doing some work at this minute in town there. I was in there last week at our new police headquarters in the city, and that was the first time that I've been into a police establishment since March, since this lockdown, and
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Geez, it felt funny, mate. I was way up on the 35th floor. Jingos, heck. When I went to the windows to have a look out, holy dooly, it was a long way up, heck. Because my police station, it's only, 2 stories high, two and 3 stories high. So, and you go into the 35th floor and holy dooly. But, we're doing that cultural awareness training for all the police officers and all the police employees. And that's coming out. Oh, well, we want it out before the end of the year, and we're also in the process of getting new uniforms for the ACLOs. That's what they call us, ACLOs, ACLOs. That's our acronym for Aboriginal Community Liaison Officers.
Okay.
So we're getting new uniforms for that, and we're still going to have the Victoria Police emblem on there, but for the community to recognise us as also community people too.
And uniforms carry a lot of weight too. And
Yeah, it does, mate. You
yeah,
get a second
yeah.
look, when you
That's
walk into
right.
the station. Yeah, and it's good.
Yeah, which is, I think that's
Unified,
really important, and it's
But with the
important validation.
education side of things, I do a lot of presentations to the teachers and all the schools on CUST. It's called Cultural Understanding Safety Program. And we tell them from first settlement when that man arrived on the big boat to what happened from that day till now, and and a lot of it's already written, a lot of the stories, but when you start telling your own story, it's your own journey. And how I spoke about Brother Vince, how I met him, and that's so painful, mate, and it's
still today
the reality of it all, and those teachers and all those teachers that we do these to, the presentations to, they feel that pain with us, when I talk about that journey. And it's very hard to do, you can't write that out of a script, mate. It's because it's your own personal journey, and it's your own personal stories. But that's what's I guess that's our highlights, I suppose, that within the work that I do. And I love doing it, mate. It's those
I can
stories
tell.
told. Yeah.
You're doing your life's work. There's no doubt about that. It shines out of every part of your being, Keith. It's been a privilege to witness.
Thank you. It's always good to share.
It's important to share.
Very,
It's important to share. Yeah.
Deadly.
It's one of the only things I'm super grateful for in terms of this day and age of technology, to be able to come together to share stories like this. And, this stupid pandemic of ours, we probably wouldn't have even thought of doing this had it not been. These events are usually in person to only those that can afford to go to them and be
very
there.
True. Yeah.
And here we are, streaming worldwide here and sharing your hearts, your souls, your message, your purpose, your passions, and your power with the world is just, it's a gift. And I would love to thank you all so, so very much for feeling safe enough to join us to share.
No, you're welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, that's beautiful, doll. Thank you for doing this. And my little mate there, that Marianne, goodness me, I thought you were just phoning me to say g'day, Hey, how are you?
No.
Not Marianne, no. You always had something stuck up your sleeve, mate.
No, it's beautiful to hear your stories and to really value the power of your love for family, for tradition, for culture. And not only that, but not just your family, for your greater extended family. And I've been saying this all week, the ripple effect of love that we pass on to everyone we meet as we walk down the street, Lois. Every chance we get to smile, to touch someone's cheek, no matter how long it's been.
Yes.
It's a gift. It's precious.
Yes.
Hi, Gabrielle.
Oh.
Oh, she gone. She here. She gone. So if our team
Camera
is
shy,
ready,
was he?
I don't know. I think she's like, oh, I'm not supposed to be on camera. We have a lot of people that are in on the background just watching, and I'd love to acknowledge them for their joy. We also have an extraordinary team behind the scenes making this all happen, and I'd love to acknowledge them as well. And if the team is ready to show and share the certificates, I'd love to present them on behalf of the World Parliament of Spirituality. You should come up.
Thank you, Michelle. Beautiful.
In a second. We have where are we going? We've got the wrong thing. We have a blank screen. Here we go. We'll try again. It's over to the side there. I can see it.
Yes, I can see it.
Yes. It's okay. We'll make sure we get them to you.
There's the certificate, this one.
Oh, okay. I can see it.
You can see we can see the certificate off to the side. I'm wondering, I don't think I can. I don't have. Don't you hate it when someone else's screen's sharing and you can't do what you want with it?
Yeah, I'm not all that savvy, but this technical stuff.
That's okay. That's okay. I know that you will. Here we go.
Yeah, there we are.
So the World United Australia.
Grand.
Yeah, we present to Lennar.
There's a little spelling error there.
Yes.
There is too. Yeah, we'll fix that.
RANDALL.
That's okay. We'll fix that as we send you the copy. But thank you, and apologies for that. So a certificate of speaker for the World United, and we proudly present this to you, Lennar, for being an esteemed speaker in the Third World Parliament of Spirituality 2020. And we extend that gratitude as well. Oh, thank you. Thank you from our hearts into yours. Thank you, Keith.
Definitely, man. Yeah, I love that. It's lovely. Parisha, Grandmother Parisha.
Thank you.
Oh,
yeah, Grandmother Parisha was trying to get on the track to join us. She's been detained on the other track, which I'll give you the link to, which you can go and jump on if you would. She would love to see you on there, I'm sure.
Oh,
and it's pretty special what we've brought together today, and it's meant the world to me.
Oh,
I felt like I'm sitting there hand in hand in your lounge room with you, and it's been such a gift. Thank you.
You are.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. May I just... Here she is.
There she is.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been beautiful.
Oh, goodness me, Marianne.
Yeah, she's a treasure. Auntie Lennar, do you have a final message to share with us?
Yes, I'd love to share.
Thank you.
With you all that if I can say with COVID what it has meant, like the spirit within each and every one of us is far more powerful than what...
Sorry.
Timing is everything.
The eatery. Yeah.
So who's Jeff taking? No?
Wait for Michelle.
Just wait. Just hang on.
Mine?
Yeah. Because you'll have to take Uncle Stu.
Yeah. So Dad's just going now. Did you want to go with Dad and pick up
Uncle Stu?
You and Stu come with me.
You and Stu.
That's why I have a shout.
Yeah, okay. So we'll see you up there. So we're just going to Bet's birthday luncheon, Keith.
Yeah, I wish I could go
Sorry,
with
Michelle
you.
and
I don't
Mary-Ann.
know.
Sorry.
Goodness me.
So we're
I
just
can't. The
organising.
borders are still closed down here.
So we're just organising transport.
Oh, deadly.
But lovely. Sorry, Jinder.
Oh, yeah. So to all the unseen out there, may you know that there is a powerful hand.
How you going, Charles?
Jeff, come and say hello before you go, so that you would have met Lois's whole family now.
Yeah. So this is my darling husband, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
How are you, Jeffrey?
You like my bright shirt?
Yes, I'm jealous of this, that I can't be there. Little bit of going, yeah. See you then, son. Catch you later. Ta-da.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
try
what
that
life is,
again.
Okay, we'll try it again.
Yeah.
I love
think,
it.
Yeah, I don't really know what I was trying to say, but what I will say is that to all the unseen faces that are out there, that are listening to us, that they are receiving this from us today. It's been an honour and a privilege to share our thoughts and our love and our blessings with each and every one of you. And for me, COVID, I see it as the great spirit that but loves us into being, to be the spirit that will lead and guide us. So may the God of holy dreaming, the great creator spirit, who from the dawn of creation have given us the good things of Mother Earth. You spoke and the gum tree grew. In the vast desert and dense forest, and in cities at the water's edge, creation sings your praise. Your presence endures as the rock at the heart of our land. When Jesus hung on the tree, you heard the cries of all your people and became one with your wounded ones, the convicts, the hunted, and the dispossessed. In Jesus, we have been reconciled to you, to each other, and to your whole creation. Lead us on, Great Spirit, and gather us from the four corners of the earth, and enable us to walk together in trust from the hurt and shame of the past into the new day which has dawned in Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen and amen. Blessing. So to everyone, take that as a blessing from all of us here, and especially from our Yagal people, all the Aboriginal people who, wherever you come from, may you take that and take it to your home, to your people, and to your land. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, deadly.
Love and blessings be with you.
Thank you, Jinder. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So deadly.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Oh, so
And
deadly.
may I ask for a goodbye in your mother tongue from your land?
Yes. Just got to come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yadiyarang. Jerome. Yeah.
Jerome,
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yari.
Jadiyurang.
Yadiyarang. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, deadly.
And the blessing
just-
before you go, what's your name? Michelle. The blessing of in our language, Magandaya, Abba, Baba Father, the first great ancestral being, with Nyalagay the mother, the bright evening star, and with their son, Ngalagan, the warrior, the bright morning star that has led and guided the Yagal people and that is leading and guiding us. So I leave you now with that, as we know that blessing, as I just said before, that the blessing of those three, the Father, the Son, the Mother, and the Spirit, walks with us always, everywhere, every single second of the day and night. So Jari.
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 Deadly. Thank you, Len. Love you. Lois.
Thank you.
Brother Stuart.
Thank you.
Black. Yeah, Black.
Gonna go.
Thank you, Lenore. Thank you, Auntie Lois, and thank you, Uncle Keith.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You're welcome, Michelle.
It's been a pleasure.
Have a lovely day.
Yeah.
See you, Keith.
See you
Love
then.
you.
Love yous. I'll give you a call later, okay?
Yeah,
God
darling.
bless.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Deadly.
And this,
Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. This brings us to the close of track 2 for the World Parliament of Spirituality, and a beautiful big reminder that unity consciousness lives in our hearts. It is who we are. And that the World Parliament of Spirituality has and will continue to create a tsunami, a ripple of unconditional love, opening the hearts of humanity as the radiant lights that we are. And so it is. Signing off from track 2, I've put a link in the chat box there. Marianne, if you could maybe even to join us on track 1, please, so that we can continue to honour you and your people and our country. And we're going to be passing the baton of this on to Europe next and continue this wave of unconditional love. And we've got 6 continents to get through. So thank you for being a part of our Australian leg, a very, very vital one.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. That's beautiful.
My pleasure. Deep love and gratitude to you all.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Take
Kitty
care.
Ginders. Nyaga.
Bye-bye, darling.
Love
So
you.
I'll
Say ta-da.
Ta-da, love.
Yeah. See you.
Oh, beautiful.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you then, Michelle. Ta-da.
Love
Bye.
Ciao. See you,
Lovely
Lois.
to meet
Len.
you.
Bye-bye, darling.
See you, darling.
Same. Oh, deadly.
So, on my right hand.
What do we do now? We press leave, I suppose, eh? Yeah.
Yep, you can just press leave and go in, my love.
Thank you.
Bye, Keith.
Cheers, then, Dal. Bye-bye.
Cheers.